But I just thought I'd show you guys that, like, you know, when we were talking about the woman there. But like, so, you know, so Jeff, you know, this lady, his wife, right, is, you know, she's under pressure to provide a harem, but the dude won't sleep with her because he likes his boys. And so Jafar, so she gets called and given a nickname Jafar, right? Male name, right? You've seen Aladdin. I think it's an Aladdin. That's why it's a Jafar. You know, isn't that dude like the King Jafar or something like that? It is King Jafar, right? Hold on. Who was the king in Aladdin? Aladdin. That's the way of pronouncing it. It's Aladdin. But you know, we're so used to Aladdin in the West because of Disney. And jasmine. Summer breeze. I love the smell of jasmine in summer. Yeah. The Sultan. Yeah, and Sultan, the rule of Aqraba is the Sultan, who is Princess Jasmine's father. He's depicted as a kind but somewhat naive and comical ruler who is heavily influenced. Oh, it was the royal advisor Jafar, who was heavily influenced by his royal advisor Jafar until Aladdin helps expose Jafar's treachery. Right, so he was the Sultan's advisor. It's not letting go of that text. Yeah, so that was from ChatGPT. All right, let's get back to this dude or this lady. Poor lady, man. Honestly, like, you get married off to a dude who's a homosexual, okay, who's got his boys, right, his men, and you're just a person there to look good, to validate him as a man, right, as a ruler, as like to be, natural order of things, as they say, right, in the kingdom.
Of Jafar, a male name. Jafar was also the name of Al-Hakam's closest friend from childhood. Al-Hakam wasn't able to produce his first...
dude. Not only that, but like he gives her his childhood boy mate's friend, his male friend, his childhood male friend's name as well. Oh, poor lady. It's like she's like her entire identity taken off her. Kind of like in male sports right now. We got a whole bunch of biological male, right, taking away female sports. These females have worked their asses off their whole life since they've been able to since they started the sports, through school, through college, university, dedicated like whatever it was, like 4 or 5 hours a day or a week, whatever, all right, to train for that. And I remember when I was playing, touch rugby or rugby, each week we used to go and lift weights, 2-3 hours a day, 3 hours a night, and then run back home, because this is when I was at boarding school. You used to like run there, so you're warmed up, then you go and lift weights, do some boxing training, then run back home. This is in the night. All right, so about 3-4K run back home, 3-4K back there, and miles, probably about 3-4 miles. I don't know how much that is, works out to be, but I know it was long for my little 12-year-old legs, 10-year-old legs. But yeah, and then you come home, and then if you're lucky, you get a shower or bath, and then you go to sleep. That was it. But after dinner, you went and did it once a week. Yeah, but she gets her whole identity taken off her, man. And just talking about that, with like, there was a recent, the first trans, man, trans man. Well, he was a dude, like biological dude, but he won an award as as Oscar playing a female, right? And so they awarded, and it's like, well, so you awarded it. Biological males are winning, man. Seriously, and In the entire world, biological males are winning. That's well, the patriarchy is winning, dudes. Like seriously, man, if you're a man right now, you gotta be up, if you're like incel or whatever you want to call it, not really sure about that's the right word for it, but if you're misogynist, dude, you guys are winning, man. If you're fucking killing it, dude. You got an Oscar even for dressing up as for pretending to be a chick. Nothing wrong with that, but like, dude, you got an Oscar for for being a chick. Misogyny to the win. Misogyny for the win, dude.
First heir till he was 46. Other than these two, we know stories of many homosexual relationships between monarchs and their courtiers. We know that Al-Hakam II's father, Abdurrahman III, had a male harem as well as a female harem. We know that Al-Mu'tamid, the Emir
So you could say he was swinging both ways, but actually he was just gay. He enjoyed the females as well, but he was gay. There's the thing, like if it goes in that hole, then you're gay, and then you go and put in the other chick's hole, then you're gay as well, right? There's like the whole bi thing. I mean, I know a lot of people like, okay, just if you've done it once, you've done it once, right? And you're done, right? But I don't believe in the whole bi thing. I think it's just you're just gay.
of the Taifa of Seville was in love with a poet named Ibn Ammar. Wherever slave soldiers were involved, there was almost always a sexual relationship between the monarch
Did you
and
get that? Wherever a slave was involved, there was, you know, homosexual sex with them. Because slaves got no rights, bro. Even if that slave is straight, ain't into it. He ain't got no rights, bro. This is what I'm, laying the bricks here, like they say, laying the foundations here, right? About this culture, about this religion.
one or more of his trusted men. Some famous examples involve Mahmud of Ghazna and Malik Ayaz, Alauddin Khilji and Malik Kafur, and of course the Mamluks of Egypt were famous for it too. It was even so common among the Ottoman soldiers that they often appointed someone to keep an eye on new soldiers and their superiors. In the Islamic world, we usually don't see egalitarian homosexual relationships between two people of a similar social class. They were almost always between people of different social classes. Monarchs and
Yeah, because when you're a ruler, you get to do whatever the fuck you want. Excuse the language. When you're in charge, you get to do whatever that you want because you have all the power, right? You saw we're going to talk about that in a later thing. You saw the ladies who were like released in Israel, from the terrorists, and the price Israel had to pay for that was like about 30 per one, because Israel values life more than those people do, more than Islamists do, right? Because there's a family out there with a baby right now, right, and a young child, I think it was, like that's a hostage right now. Like he celebrated. Well, I can't even say he fucking celebrated. He turned one while a hostage. There was another. It was like shit. There was another girl who was murdered, and they dragged her body around and danced around her on October 7th, year 2023.
servants or slaves, Sufi teachers and their students, etc. Speaking of Sufis, one area where we often imagine homosexuality being common is Sufism. Sufi poetry is full of seemingly homoerotic themes and mentions love between men again and again. So naturally, it is often interpreted as being sexual in nature, but that's way too simplistic a view of this poetry. Obviously, it's not always easy to tell whether that love is just platonic love between two friends or if it's romantic, and even if it's romantic, does it involve sex? I mean, in the modern mind, Rumi and Shams Tabrizi were lovers in the night time, but that doesn't really seem to be the case. Of course, Rumi loved Shams Tabrizi.
All right,
There's
that's enough of that. But the link's there in the chat. You guys can check it out, the rest of the video. Now, I'm going to bring up a school, right? Whoops, that's the wrong one. Hold on. It's the same one that I had before. Get to the other tab. It is there. So this is a Muslim faith school slang for a book advocating death for gay people. So, right, pretty drastic, right? So let me put this up so we can the banner. I think I should have put the banner up, but this is an adult. Well, not for children's side channel, I should say. But so there was a school, and this is from National Circular Society in the UK, if I remember right. In the UK, this is from 2021, right? That's when it was published. The article was written, and here's a link for that. So remember, we're talking about Muslims here, right? So Muslims are there's a school teaching kids, right, that they should be dead, and this is teaching children this, right? Not saying to adults, because all adults already know that the only good gay is a dead gay, right? So faith school slam for book advocating death for gay people. Islam on homosexuality is the term, and it's written by Muti Muhammad Zafiruddin, translated by Sayyid Azhar Ali Zaidi. So it's basically written in Arabic and translated in English by Sayyid. And this is Pakistan, right? So it's a Pakistani school. And as we know, like about almost like all the people that were involved out of the 100 in the UK rape and gang grooming in the UK was from Pakistan. They were Pakistanis. There was a couple of Indians in there, but mainly Pakistanis. And they were all Muslims. All right. So an independent faith school has failed in an inspection after a book calling for gay people to be killed was found in the library. The book, entitled Islam on Homosexuality, was discovered during an Ofsted inspection at Institute of Islamic Education, an independent Islamic school in Shrewsbury in May. That's 2021. I said it was 21, wasn't it? Yeah, 21. And this is written in July, so 2 months later. Article came out. The book said participants of homosexual acts should be slain. Right? Or off rooftops. Because in filth and mischief, I remember writing this one time, like putting the SIC in there, and then my in grammar, because I have really bad grammar because I left school when I was like about 15. So anything I've learned is outside of, since then has been outside of like other, like tertiary education and so forth. So because of filth, because in filth and mischief, and that's what I was trying to say. Like SIC means like it's shortened, so that to make this. So yeah, and then he was like, that's what that thing that's what that word means, dude. It's like it doesn't mean what you think it means. Like paraphrasing. It doesn't mean paraphrasing. I'm like, okay, thank you. I feel embarrassed. Like my young brother, 10 years ago, he was telling me that. Like, yeah, well, he got he got to do all his studies. I left at 15. Okay, so because of filth and mischief of this act surpasses adultery. So for and adultery in Islam is really bad. Like you just can't, right? Because they'll stone you because they do the Old Testament thing, um, where Jesus said, well, this lady, these rabbis brought this lady who was caught in adultery, and they said to Jesus, "Hey, Rabbi, what should we do with this woman? She was caught in adultery," and they were all had their rocks ready, right? And so Jesus leans down, kind of squats down on the ground because this is out in the open, and he goes, "Well, let him let him who is without sin toss the first stone." Meaning that if you are not guilty of sin yourself, that you're not a thief, you're not a liar, you're not a cheater, that you haven't committed adultery yourself and just haven't been caught yet, or you've done something else, you've had lust in your heart for someone else, and you've stolen from somebody, whatever. He goes, you throw the first stone, and then one by one, from the oldest to the youngest, they all left, and there the lady was there. That's the story of the adulterous woman. And that's what they're saying, right? They're saying here it's worse than that. Someone who's sleeping around on her husband, right? And hell, let me just see what Ofsted is here, because they're saying the Ofsted, is that like a school thing? I mean, I reckon it's like it's basically raising standards. Ofsted is raising standards and improving lives. School and boarding progress monitoring inspection report. So yeah, it's got to do with school reports and stuff like that, where they go out and check, like, are these guys up to grade or what are they teaching? So that's who found it. So this is the link for that actual article, which I just that one there. I just went and looked at it, and it's there. It's 21 pages long, tells you everything about it. But we don't want to go through that. So okay, so the book said participants of. Oh, I just read that. Okay, it also said that the evildoers should be put to death. So, we're talking about like the LGBT, and we're talking about how the theme of this whole thing is like how they've been clowned on because they're useful idiots. Useful idiots are always, used by political movements and stuff, and in this case by a terrorist group, Hamas in Palestine, right? Hamas who controls Palestine, right? And whose Palestinians who joined them. And I've put up some little clips. It tells you like even the women are wishing for death. So yeah, so the book has been okay. It was said that the evildoers should be put to death. The book had been stamped by the school as a library book, so it's approved by the library book. It's not like this; it ended up there by accident, like somebody from the outside put it there. It's got a stamp of a seal of approval from the school itself. A book with the same title, pictured. Hold on, it's on Amazon UK. Dismiss my cookies. Accept my cookies. Yeah, so you can actually buy this thing to learn about how they want you to how much they hate homosexuals or gays over here on the on UK on the UK Amazon. So let's just have a look at that quickly before we come back to this. There you go. How much are they charging for it? All right, it's 106 pages long. Wait. All right, an authentic book on the evils of homosexuality, containing discussion in the light of the Quran, Hadith, history, and medicine. Right? And here's the funny thing, because like I mentioned earlier, like all these people who are like siding with Palestine and Hamas and Hezbollah and all that, and Muslims and Islamists against Israel, they also despise Christians for this. They're so intolerant. Christians are so intolerant. But look, there's a book put out by them, The Evils of Homosexuality, and they're saying that you should be put to death. Now, we also, I'm not going to play the game of whataboutism, but like we're looking at their topic right now, right? What they're talking about. We'll come to Christianity some other time, but like it's just simple. Like I mentioned earlier, in Christianity, hate the sin, love the person, right? And of course, there's always going to be like some fucking person who thinks they same way and call themselves Christians, but really by their actions you should know them. Is how you should judge every book by its cover, book, not just by the cover. Open the hell up, open the damn book up and read it and see what's in there. Right. So, right, that's what we just read. Authentic. Yep. While the head teacher said the book should not be in the school library, other leaders stated that the book was for research purposes, according to the report. It's at a school library, which means it's available for everybody. The report said by permitting this book to be freely accessible to pupils, just as I mentioned, available to everybody, leaders are failing to promote respect and tolerance for others, for fundamental British values. Oh dear. Oh dear. That's pretty weird, isn't it? Like, if you really think about what's happening in Britain right now, and had been happening there for almost 2 decades, where anytime you raise a question about the evils of Islam, raping your children, stabbing your family member or your neighbor or strangers, it causes Islamophobia. So these guys are Islamophobic. Osted is Islamophobic. They should be locked up and put in jail, according to Herr Starmer, right? The Prime Minister of UK right now, and his fellow promoters of grooming and rape, because it was Labour who was in power who allowed it to happen. And every time somebody turned up, said, "Oh no, we're not talking about it," because some of their members were part of it. There was specifically one person who was part of it, who was an MP, and we'll be looking at that later. I'll be collecting all these freaking like it's about this long, man, of links, just like and I'm like, that's a lot to cover. Might have to be like two or three two or three streams, because it's just getting bigger and bigger. And I'm like, new things come up every other day now. It's like, okay, let's just wait it out. Let's let it get to the end of it, and then we can get together and talk about it, rather than like talking about it right away, because then I'll like miss a whole bunch of stuff out. So this report is Islamophobic, right? Because you shouldn't be saying that about Islam. They're allowed to kill people, gays. They should be allowed to teach children to kill gays. But I thought Christians and Jews were the baddies. Like, even in Hinduism, they don't teach that. But I mean, even in proper Christianity, they tell you shouldn't be murdering anybody. It's a single law: "Thou shalt not murder," as a commandment, right? So even the Bible doesn't tell you to do that, yet these guys are telling you to do that. All right, so it goes against the fundamental value of British. It actually goes against fundamental value of Western culture, right? The right to exist and do your adult things without harming anyone, right? By harming is like without getting the consent, right? So I think it's like national schools, whatever. What is the NSS? Let me find it out before I go further. What is the what is it? NSS in UK schooling, maybe. Sure, something national school, something. Yeah, National School. Yeah, it's a NSS is a National Student Survey. All right, so that's what they say there. So it's a National School Survey, the NSS. There you are. Right, carrying on. The National School Survey head of policy and research, Megan Manson, said that the findings were horrifying. You're Islamophobic, Megan. Watch your back. They're gonna knock on your door now. You know the what you call it, like the black shirts. Yeah, I think it was the black shirts in Nazi Germany. You know the SS. Yeah, they're gonna knock on your door. Or would it be the brown shirts? Yeah, but in this case, it'll be the blue shirts because it's the police that come up with the light blue. She said it is appalling that a book calling for gay people to be executed could be found in a school library. Look at that. It's appalling, she says. You fucking Islamophobic. How dare you say that? She should watch her back because, like, whenever she says something like that, you know, they want to kill you. I mean, they did behead a teacher. It is even more disturbing that some school leaders appear to defend the school's decision to make this book available for children. She said, "Oh, dude, you're just like digging your hole, man. Dude, be careful. You know, watch your back. These people don't play around. Like they shoot up friggin' buildings. If you just draw a cartoon of Muhammad, right? Schools have a duty to promote equality in all for all. Giving a space for hateful, homophobic, religious propaganda clearly runs contrary to that. Oh my goodness, Megan, dearie, dude, I, you just really, how many, how many, how many holes do you want to dig yourself? The NSS has been lobbying the student survey body, whatever, had been lobbying the Department for Education to ensure that consistently failing schools are not allowed to indefinitely undermine young people's fundamental right to equality. Damn it. Okay, let's try this again. Tongue tied. The NSS has been lobbying the Department for Education to ensure that consistently failing schools are not allowed to indefinitely undermine young people's fundamental right to equality of education. But what if they put up pride flags everywhere, Megan, and they teach the children about pronouns and hating straight people, and that being a trans kid, it's okay for you to be with adults, that you should see nude men at public events, waving around their shalong and their slave boys dressed up in BDSM stuff, coming or dressed up as coming to pride events, or like your parents taking you there just so you can look at these grown men and think it's normal for you to be around grown men as a child. What about that, Megan? Also, what about like men dressed up as women with full beards and all that, the whole shebang, teaching little kids about gay stuff, how to use dildos? I don't know, man. That's kind of sounds grooming to me. The Secretary of State said, and this is like the UK, right? A firmer approach. Oh shit, is he going to dig himself a hole as well? would be taken to enforce the standards when there was evidence of non-compliance when independent school standards were updated in 2015. Oh, this was in the past. Well, that's 6 years ago, right? Other failings, like we'll just finish off on here, right? Ofsted inspectors identified a number of other unmet standards at the school, including leaders had not addressed the safeguarding issues found at a previous inspection with urgency. So they basically said, we need to fix this, do it right now, because there's not enough safety here for the kids, right? They didn't do that. Staff recruitment checks were not consistently completed before staff start their employment at the school, like police checks. Is this this teacher been involved, or this person coming up for a teacher's job been involved with children, abusing children? Is he a domestic abuser? Is he have to be around children? Is he a criminal? Has he got a criminal history? Has he been in jail? None of that was done. Leaders are not consistently informing the local authority when a pupil is removed from the school's role. Okay. So they just throw out the kids into the wild, so the kids don't know if they can't be accepted to other schools. They go out and they're on their own when they're being kicked out. So if they've been kicked out and they don't inform, not only like the what is it like saying like the local authority, like the school board, or maybe the parents don't even know the kid's been kicked out. So the kid's out there all day pretending to be at school, doing whatever he does, hanging out with other, older kids or whatever, and nobody knows. And so they're supposed to be at school, but school said they're not supposed. They haven't even said they're not at school because they got kicked out. That's really bad. Leaders have not ensured that this is like the talking about the PTA, right? Like that's when they mean about leaders at the school. They were talking about like the board of directors and all that shit. Leaders have not ensured that the site is adequately maintained, and there is no suitable environment for children, for pupils to play outdoors. So safety standards are not met. So this is just a bullshit school where Muslims send their kids to learn about how to kill, that gays should be killed, but not even providing proper, education, and so they ending up being criminals or whatever, whatever you want to say, right? It's just a useless fucking school, and not even safe enough to go play in the yard, right? Because there's not even enough, suitable environment to play outside. About the school. Institute of Islamic Education is an independent Islamic boarding school. Oh fuck, not the boarding school. The reason I mentioned that we've got a stream about a group of boarding schools in Malaysia where hundreds of children were abused. Coming up soon. This was just found out last September or October. Hundreds. And around about 100, I think it was about 700 kids and about 100 teachers. And it was a Muslim school. So, Institute of Islamic Education is an independent Islamic boarding school for boys and young men between the ages of 11 to 25. So from junior high, I guess you guys could call it in America or elsewhere. Here it's like for us, it's intermediate. 11 and 12 is an intermediate. Then about 13 upwards is 13 to 18 is high school, a college for us. I know you guys call college, it's like basically university to us, or tertiary education. And then after 18 upwards, it's like university. So located on the grounds of a mosque. So it's a private school at a mosque. So all these people send their children there after they leave, after they get, childcare, they go there, right? So these are like not babies, or they're not like kids have to be like fed and looked after, right? Like primary school or whatever. These are like intermediate age. Pupils are only taught secular subjects in the afternoon, with the morning devoted to Islamic curriculum. So that's where they'll be taught how to hate, everybody else, right? The Islamic Caliphate, right? The Islamic way is the right way, and we're going to take over the world. So that's taught in the morning, and gays should be killed, and Jews, the only good Jew is a dead Jew, the only good gay is a dead gay. In the mornings, in the afternoon, you get maths and whatever, and probably not science because they don't understand that science. I was just watching this dude talk about science, and he was like, "It's not really science you're talking about, dude." The school has previously told parents that their children face expulsion if they socialize with non-Muslims. Oh, 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 oh. Damn. It's like that's what I always say. It's like a cult, like a death cult, right? Islam is like a death cult. It's a cult, but it's a death cult because, like I said, only dead. They say gays, only good gays are dead gay, and only good Jews are dead Jew, because that's what they've been doing that all over the world right now. And now and now you're not allowed to socialize with non-Muslims, but hey, when you do, make sure that you rape them and groom them and abuse them. This is UK, right? Of course. Not just UK. I mean, like, seriously, come on. It has also forbidden children from watching TV, listening to music, or reading newspapers. So it's pretty extreme, and we'll find that, when we talk about this other one later, it's like, it's crazy, dude. Like, serial crazy. All right, let's get to, dude, we're at 2 hours. I didn't even get to the crazy stuff, the crazy stuff. All right, now, let me see if this is the one. Just give me 1 sec. Okay, here we go. This is just a funny thing, just a kind of anecdote, right? This is from Twitter, and it's from. This is. Oh, that was pretty loud. It's pretty loud. Came in my ear really loud. This is from the Gay Alibaba show, and the typical mentality, attitude, and beliefs of gay Muslims. Actually, let me bring that up first before I go full screen. Are we there? We're there. Are we there? Yeah, we're there. All right. Before I go into this one, right? Thank you for, we're the 2 hour mark. Well, just over. Thank you for, coming to this channel. I really appreciate it. For all the new people who join. This is a channel where I just talk about subjects that I find interesting. It's not me trying to force you to understand or do whatever I think is whatever. I want this, just like education, whatever. It's the most minimal thing, just to keep it, open your eyes up. Don't do not just wear rose-tinted glasses about the world and about Islam in particular, because we see them, we see their believers attacking, killing, stabbing, raping Westerners, and yet our leaders are constantly bending over backwards to bring more into each country, because they are part of the United Nations. We are part of the United Nations, so whatever the fuck the United Nations says, we kind of have to take our quota, right? Oh, you have to, you take, people of 5 million, well, you can take 1,000. Well, where are we going to put them? What are their backgrounds? Oh, don't worry about that. You just provide it. Well, what about our people who don't have homes at the moment? Right? They're having to rent. Oh, don't want to hear that shit. You're part of the United Nations. You do whatever we tell you. Okay. Can we can you contest that? Nah, you just do whatever we tell you. Okay. I guess we'll just bend over backwards then and take it up there. So this is from this channel here. This is the Alibaba show, the Gay Alibaba show. Just something a bit humorous, I guess. Maybe not. We'll see. I mean, I put this together a little while back, so you know, that's a lot.
First, let me introduce myself. My name is Felix Fanny. Felix Fanny is not my Arabic name, but it is the literal translation and meaning of my Arabic name. I am Muslim, Arab, gay man. Yes, I'm saying man. I identify as a cis man, very masculine and butch, he, him. And I am a top. I'm not a bottom. I never bottom. I am a top. I've never seen a penis in my whole life. Even my penis, I don't know what it looks like. That's how much of a top I am. And I'm proud to be Muslim. I love my religion, Islam, and I love the Quran, and I love the Prophet Muhammad, and I would defend Islam with my blood. And I support Hamas. I support Hamas and the destruction and the killing of all the Jews. And it's okay because the Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, he once said, the last hour and the end of world would not come unless the Muslims will fight against all the Jews, and Muslim would kill them all until the Jews would hide behind a rock or a tree, and the rock or the tree would say, "Oh Muslims, servants of Allah, there is a Jew hiding behind me. Come and kill him." Yes, the end of the world will be by the genocide and the destruction of all the Jews on the planet. Isn't this amazing? This is why, and this is why it is not considered genocide. We prophesize of killing all the Jews. That's okay because it is Islam, it is the word of God and the Prophet. But what Israel is doing is genocide. Defending themselves from the constant danger is genocide. I am pro Palestine, I am pro Hamas, I am pro anything Islam and anti anything Jew. And I know you must be wondering how I reconcile between being gay and being Muslim. It's very easy. Gays are different from the people of Sodom and Gomorrah. The people of Sodom and Gomorrah were street robbers, were killers. They did all sorts of debauchery and horrible things. But we gays, we queers, we are cute and sweet. We don't hurt anyone. We promote equality and justice to all. And we only have sex out of love and relationships and commitment, not out of lust and debauchery. And this is why I will go to heaven. God will never punish me for being homosexual. You see, we gays and queers, we like to have anal sex, swallow semen, take drugs, drink piss, rim buttholes, have sex in the streets and in the parks, in the public bathrooms, but as long as you do it out of love and not out of lust, you will never ever go to hell. I am proud to be Muslim and abide with Islam. I even don't eat pork. I mean, I eat buttholes where the shit comes out of from daily, but I never eat pork. Oh, it's disgusting. May Allah protect me from that filth. But eating buttholes out of love, it's okay and it is much cleaner than eating pork.
What?
Up till now,
I pull my punches. I intend to eat their lunches. No more Mr. Nice Guy, not for me.
Thought I needed a break from that. Like, but yeah, typical gay Muslims, right? He nailed it. But yeah, do check out his the Gay Alibaba show. He's on X, and he's got his own website, gayalibabashow.com, I think it was. So let's have a look at this one. Let's get to the full screen. Add. This is the Muslim Judicial Council. And this is from a report from SABC. Is it Africa? South Africa Broadcasting? Okay, so where the hell is SABC? Hold on. And they have 2.73 million subscribers. Man, I could just do it 500 right now. I'll be really happy. Please subscribe. Right? Get me to 500 so we can get some, what is that called? Oops. So, yeah, it is South Africa. Yeah, it is this channel here. This is the link. South Africa, Africa's news leader so it is SABC, and it's from South Africa. The news we're going to be hearing, or the report. So we looked at Britain, and we looked at what the Muslims say. I mean, how the Muslims see the gays, and then we're going to see how Muslim Africans say. I think the leaders think about homosexuality.
The Muslim Judicial Council has reportedly issued clarity on its view on homosexuality in a short fatwa, saying those engaging in same-sex activity have removed.
Before we go forward, fatwa is like a ruling, we're going to be looking at a fatwa on a writer in a future thing, right? And so it's it's like an edict. This is the law, right? This and no more. Let me just go back here. So just want to tell you what the fatwa is before we go forward.
The Muslim Judicial Council has reportedly issued clarity on its view on homosexuality in a short fatwa, saying those engaging in same-sex activity have removed themselves from the fold of Islam. The fatwa clarifies that Islam's primary sources of legislation all seem to concur, all unequivocally prohibit same-sex actions and, by extension, same-sex marriage. Well, the Council has also advised that the Muslim community does not spread hate. Looking at a quote here, the Muslim community should in no way ostracize them. The MJC noted that it's difficult to engage in a...
It's pretty weird. I mean, we just look at that library book that's for sale, right, where it calls for the death of gays and homosexuals. It was written by Muslims. It was translated by Muslims and was in a Muslim school, and it's being sold on Amazon UK. The link's in the chat. I did that again. Hold on. Every time rather than pushing play, I push the screen, so it shrinks it. Play.
Brief discussion of LGBTQ issues. Let's speak to Dr. Munir Abdurraf, who is from the Judicial Council, the Muslim Judicial Council of South Africa. Doctor, thank you for being with us. Can you clarify that this missive or fatwa has been issued?
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for having me. Yes, the Muslim Judicial Council is an Islamic-based institution that does a number of things within the South African...
Hold on. There's no friggin' subtitles here really sucks, because that's when she started speaking, I was gonna like put that on, because I was like, this is from South Africa, so the freaking accent will be thick. It'll be hard for me to understand. If it's hard for me to understand, and I can understand a lot of accents, it would be hard for you guys to understand as well if you don't, if you're not used to accents. But like, there's no freaking subtitles, so apologies, right? So let me pull that back. So this is like a judiciary, right? This is like a council. Like, these are the heads. These are guys putting out the law, right?
Council is an Islamic-based institution that does a number of things within the South African community. And one of the departments within the Muslim Judicial Council is the Fatwa Department or Fatwa Committee. Now, when it came to the issue concerning LGBTQ+, the department was approached with a request just to give some clarity concerning the stance of Islamic law with regard to matters either of feelings or actions concerning homosexuality and related matters. And as the fatwa states, it is quite difficult to engage in a brief discussion on this matter, but some points were then issued to the South African community, Muslim community at least, with regard to the request. And that is basically where this fatwa came about, by a request from the Muslim community in order just to shed some guidance as to what is stated in the primary sources of Islamic law, and the interpretation, at least, by the Muslim Judicial Council in this regard.
What is the meaning of fatwa?
A fatwa is basically a question has been asked, and an Islamic scholar or a panel, as in the Muslim Judicial Council, there is a committee that they are on a number of occasions, they are asked questions, and they then have to give the legal ruling. It could at times be on marriages, at times it could be on inheritance, at times it could be on halal, and so forth. And a ruling or interpretation of the Islamic law primary sources is then given. And this is basically what this fatwa or brief fatwa or clarification is all about. It is the view of the Muslim Judicial Council.
And it's the view of the South African Muslim Judicial Council, but presumably you are in line with a global similar body, a Muslim Judicial Council globally. Does it work like that, that you get in line with an international body?
Yeah, basically, if you're looking at the Muslim Judicial Council, it has a number of members, of scholars, of Muslim scholars, that have studied in various parts of the globe, be it in Egypt, be it in Al-Azhar, or in Medina University in Saudi Arabia, or locally as well. So what then happens is they would be qualified members of the Muslim community with qualifications or degrees in Islamic law. So when questions of this nature are then posed, and then an answer is then given based on the current context. Yes, so it might also be that other Islamic institutions would have similar fatwa issued in different parts of the globe.
All right. My first question now, moving to homosexual people or people who identify as gay. Is there any threat here? You know, one of the most high-profile fatwas was issued against the author Salman Rushdie. That was a long time ago, but people remember.
That's what we're going to be talking about in a future thing. I've been trying to listen to the audiobook, so I can so I can, when I come to I think I've listened to about half an hour to an hour of it so far. It's quite a chunky book. And it's non-fiction. I mean, like, it's fiction, not fiction, non-fiction. It's not real. It's like made up story. It's a Satanic Verses, right? It's the title of it. But yeah, we'll be looking at that in the future once I listen to all of the story, so that I'm aware of what the subject we're talking about. And Salman's been like, last time he was stabbed on stage. let me back that up here. So just before, I put up the list about where is it? Not the list. Is that it? Yeah. So in Islam, a fatwa is a formal ruling. So it's legit. You can't go against it if you're Muslim. It is it. And if you're a Muslim anywhere in the world, you make sure it's done. All right. That's why any Muslim anywhere in the world has to kill Salman Rushdie, attack him, And we looked at, I think, was it, I can't remember her full name, but her name's Ali Hashim or something like that. She was like she was from Africa. She moved to Denmark, Dutch. Yeah. And she was like, a filmmaker friend of hers was murdered by, because he had a fatwa put on her and him in Denmark, because the Danish thought it's not going to happen. So they didn't really, because they were serious and the country didn't think it was serious. So here's something, a heads up for, for people who don't really fucking understand much about Islam. A Sharia is a hardcore version of Islam that the Shia practice, which is against everything Western. And in Europe right now, they're calling, especially in UK and in France, they're calling for a Sharia system of governance in the country itself, like in Denmark, in Norway, or wherever the fuck they are in large groups. They're calling for that sort of system, a system that goes against the very country that they live in. They're calling for that system to take place. They're leaving their bullshit countries behind and going to other peaceful countries which are tolerant, because we're Westerners and we appreciate freedom, unlike them. And they want to set up their bullshit court system and laws in our countries. But the problem is a lot of our idiot left-brained moron leaders don't understand that. And much like what we had before, the last 8 years, which was Jacinda Ardern, who was like the poster child for Islam in New Zealand and across the world at that time, because of the mosque shootings here in New Zealand. She thought it was okay to don on a hijab, and because she did that, and she paid out millions of dollars of New Zealand taxpayer money to the extended family members and the members of the people that were murdered. That never happens anywhere else in the world, but we had to do that, right, in an act of terror, right? That nobody from our own, the person who did it wasn't even from New Zealand, he was from Australia, but we had to take that on board. So we had to pay for housing, travel, plane tickets for extended family members to be here. So we had to fork out all this bullshit for all the people that were dead in our country, but they were like killed by someone not even from our country. Nothing is like that happens anywhere to anybody else's country, but we had to do that shit. And so we lost a lot of, our own tax dollars for that. Okay, we're nice people, fine. But even people, not family members, I should say, people I know that were there were thinking, what the fuck is this? Right? But that was just in the Ardern. What the Aussies call the horseface prime minister. And not only that, I've always been pissed off with her since for about maybe 5-6 years now, when she did that hijab thing, because just before she did that, I've been studying about the treatment of Muslim women outside of Middle East and what was happening to them. 70% of them were reporting that if they did not wear the and this is outside of their fucking outside of the countries like the Middle East, they were saying that 70% of them were being abused, were being beaten, were being assaulted, sometimes in public, by people of their religion, other Muslims, by their family members, for incorrectly wearing the hijab. And this bullshit person, Jacinda Ardern, our former prime minister from the Labour government, and fuck the Labour government's always like the left-brain dumbheads, right? End up well, I'm going to be the poster child yeah, for Islam. And they showed, and I've said this about it before, but like, we're talking about like these things. And she was out there promoting the hijab and the poster child for it. And I was like looking, and it's like, you don't know anything as a leader. Like, you're ignorant. Like, you're supposed to know these things, but you as a leader are so fucking ignorant, right? That someone like me, who has not even gone to college to study this shit, how to be a leader or be a politician, understands this by just thinking about, hey, why do they wear the hijab? What happens to them? And they did a study, like thousands of people they studied, and 70% of the women were beaten and assaulted by strangers. They didn't even know who were Muslims, right? For not wearing the hijab properly, or not wearing the hijab in public, or not covering the hair. And so there's a couple videos I put out right recently that I found like on Twitter, right? So people have put up like about how these guys walk around making sure that people, that other women are putting on the fucking covering their hair. They're not even Muslims, but they have to cover their hair. This is what I get pissed off. It's like, well, because they get taught all this bullshit that they should follow, and this is why I'm bringing it up, because of the fatwa, right? They have this thing that women should cover their fucking hair, right? And so they, and when they don't, they get beaten, assaulted. But hey, but Islam's such a peaceful religion. Islam wasn't a peaceful religion and has never been a peaceful religion. And let's get back to the fatwa.
A long time ago, but people remember that he said he had to run for his life. His life was in danger. Is anybody in danger because of this fatwa?
Definitely not. Definitely not. In this regard, we are also...
Wait. Let me go. Where is that thing I just put up before, right? Definitely not. Where's the school thing? Like, what did they say there? And the quote was, where's that quote? It says the evil gays are evildoers, should be put to death. So this is what they said, right? Please don't clip this as me say. If somebody's going to clip this, don't say it's me that's saying that. This is what they were saying, right? Quote. All right. Yeah. It's not. Oh, it's not letting me do it on YouTube, but it's going to let me do it on Facebook. All right. It says here, your YouTube rejected your comment. This usually means they think it's spam. That's because it says that thing. So Facebook, it's on the screen now. You can see it, right? That's what they said. There's a book about it. It's in their book. And we looked at it just about half an hour ago. But here.
Basically, understanding that within the South African context, we have many freedoms. And one of the freedoms is also a freedom to live as Muslims, as a minority group within a multicultural society, which have different cultures, religious, and linguistic communities. As far as this fatwa is concerned,
if you believe that, then you're fucking stupid. Seriously, if you believe that, then you're fucking stupid, and I can't help you, man. I can't do nothing for you. You jump from a Joey into a jam. I can't do nothing for you, man. Quoting Flavor Flav. Yeah. You jumped in the fire from the pan, basically.
Muslims who are practicing within the South African context, they would like to have at times questions answered, as is this allowed, is that allowed, what does the religious text say in this regard?
Wait, did he?
So this
hold
was
on. Wait. So this is about their fatwa. This is about Islam, and he brings in Christianity. That's what they always do. They like to say, "Oh, but we're not so different from Christianity." Yeah, you are. Christianity says, "Do not kill." The Bible says, "Do not murder." It's like the number one rule, if I remember right. The commandment, like what's the number one commandment? All right. List of 10 commandments. Chat GB. All right, the Ten Commandments, right? In Exodus, you can find it just yourself. Like I said, I'm not a believer, I'm not a follower, but sometimes, when these people say these things, it just makes me think, like, do they actually know what the fuck they're talking about? Half the time they bring it up. So this is in the Ten Commandments, Exodus 20, from the Torah, of course, 20 to 1 to 17, right? It's chapter 20, verses 1 to 17. And what it says there is, let me just bring it up so you guys see the actual thing rather than just, me mumbling about it. All right. So the Ten Commandments are a set of biblical laws, say a fatwa, but not really a fatwa. It's just, a biblical laws given by God to Moses on Mount Sinai, as recorded in the book of Genesis, Exodus 21. Sorry about this thing here. It's like I pressed some shit, and I'm supposed to fix it. And it's like all the titles that comes up, it always gives me this like, digital text. I think I was looking for a digital text for a comic, and I accidentally like put it right clicked it, use this as titles. Excuse me, and haven't been able to change it back. And every time I think about it, I'm going to change it back, and I forget. Okay, so Exodus book of Exodus 21 to 17, and the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5, 4 to 21. Right, they're fundamental moral principles in Judaism, and I don't even know why it's see, this ChatGPT is bullshit because it's not in Islam, right? It's not in Islam, it's in Christianity, right? It will basically, it's a Christian and a Jewish thing. It's not Islamic. So it goes, you should have no other gods before me, and they've taken that on board as theirs. You shall not make yourself for an idol or worship graven images. You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Remember the Sabbath, keep it holy, like, it's Saturday for Jews and Sunday for Christians. Honor your mother and father. Do not murder. Number 6. I always thought it was number 1, but I guess you got to worship God first, right? Do not murder, right? Commandment number 6, right? In the 10, do not murder. Yet the Muslims are calling for the death of gays. So let me type in that commandment. Am I spelling right? Commandment number 6 of 10. Do not murder. All right. Back to our fatwa. On gays, right? Like he's playing like the we're multicultural. We believe in the, no, you don't. I mean, we see by your actions, and there's a problem with like people, right, in the West. When Islamists kill people, go, oh, but they're such a peaceful religion. Dude just stabbed 2 people, and he was crying. He was shouting, Allahu Akbar. Dude just burned a synagogue, and he wrote put Nazi things on there, and he was shouting Allahu Akbar. He was a Muslim. Oh, but they're just a peaceful religion, man. They just threw a gay over the roof of a thing over in Gaza. Oh, but they're just a peaceful religion, bro. Dude, calm down, man. Calm down, man. Dude, you just gotta calm down. It's it's like you just gotta accept these people. They but I'm like,
how am I supposed to prove it more than I already have, Professor? Why won't they believe me?
seriously, why won't they believe me? But hey, let's carry on with this, dude.
in this regard. So this was but a guideline or guidance as to what should happen around this. As far as the fatwa is concerned, it even says there that we have to live in peace and harmony with persons even of non-Muslim faith as well. And this is what Islam basically encourages as far as this fatwa is concerned as well.
Final question, what does this mean for somebody who identifies as a Muslim but also identifies as gay? If they are open about that, does it mean they cannot attend mosque? What implications for Muslims living in South Africa?
Well, for that question, basically, we have a more broader or more detailed fatwa as far as that is concerned, and certain questions would have to be asked to an individual. This specific fatwa just speaks of two things. The one thing is where a person has, let's say, homosexual tendencies, right, and it's not acted upon.
So he's talking about homosexual tendencies. So the guy's gay, but he ain't out there doing the gay thing, right? He ain't the top and he ain't the bottom, right? Or a girl. See, they concentrate on the guys a lot, but they mean the girls as well. But because they, you know, they deal other ways with women, as well, you know, as you saw in the last stream we did about how much they hate women, and we've got another part 2 coming up later. But they really hate gay men.
Other instances where it is tended, they are tendencies and they are also acted upon. In the one instance, the fatwa says that basically does not take the person out of the fold of Islam, but this is something which is Islam basically requires, as, for example, in the fatwa, it says there that if a person desires to fornicate, now that is something which Islam does not allow. And if a person keeps in that desire, that is something which is commendable. And even in the instance where the person does, however, explain that these are his or her desires, but does not act upon it, that those persons should be welcomed in the community and basically commended for that. In the other instance, however, if they act upon it, Islamic ruling is that
it's really hard to listen to him because like it's jaggedy, his connection, whatever it is, and their thing, and then we listen to it. And I know, but like the links there, and I'll put it up again so you guys can hear it, you know, later. But I want to show you Iran next. So let's jump from him because he's in Africa. And this one's called Meet Iran's Gay Mullah Forced to Flee the Country. Remember they said about like, what if like the person's gay? Is he allowed at the mosque? And this is from 8 years ago. I mean, you know, it's not like everything, it's getting worse, but like this is from 8 years ago. Just trying to, you know, nothing really changes, right, in Islam. It's like, it gets worse. And by the way, 24% of Muslims are leaving Islam annually. There's like, was like about 24, yeah, about like 1 out of 4, right? So there's like 24 out of 100. That's a lot every year because they see for now, because guess what? Thing is now that because you have the internet, and which I love the fact I'm living in this, and I've mentioned this, you know, the fact that I'm living in this generation of technology, right? That you can find out for yourself what the actual teachings are and what the actual mullahs and the muftis and the mosque and the preachers, what they teach that you haven't been able to find out, have never known about. And now you're suddenly hearing about that because it's available for you to look into it yourself. That's what I love about this generation, man, like this timeline right now. We're able to learn all this stuff just with you know, pressing a couple buttons and we're there. Search.
Taha goes through the ritual of putting on his traditional Shia cleric's outfit before going to pray at the local mosque. Like many other mullahs back in Iran, they rule the country and advise people on spiritual matters. These clerics are highly respected,
Oh,
but
and
also
these guys are the worst of the worst as well. I'm sorry, these guys are the worst of the worst. So I recommend Atheist Republic channel. Right, we talk about that channel here a lot. Let me get the link to that so you guys think it because the main person who talks on that, and it's in English, and they also have an Arabic channel as well. But the person who talks on that, like co-host that, is name's Amin, and he's from Iran. So they have a lot of it's talks about religion and all that, and they bring up everything that's going on around the world regarding religion and stuff like and news and whatever, and they do deep dives. And so please check out that channel. Like seriously, it's a good channel. The more you want to know about religious things happening, and I mean all religions, not just Islam, but there is a lot of Islam content because of Amin being from Iran. And they talk about all the terrible things that are happening there now. I know this is from 8 years ago, but the mullahs, these are the hard line. The Shia are the one, and we looked at Iran before. The Shia are the ones in control of everybody. So they're like the CCP of China, right? They're the party that took over Iran's democratic rule by their king, right? And then now they're basically ruling with an iron fist, and they've been like disappearing people left, right, and center. Young girls listening to music, or not wearing the hijab. It's really sad. But please do check out the channel Atheist Republic.
feared for the power they wield. I have come here to Istanbul to meet Taha after he fled from Iran because he's gay. I have done stories like this few times before here in Turkey, but this is different. Taha is from the hierarchy of the Islamic regime, which enforces the regime's very harsh approach when it comes to the LGBT community. This local cleric. He attended an Islamic school to become a mullah when he was just 15 and rose up the ranks to become a Hujjatul Islam, a respected authority on Islam. When I met Taha, he told me he tried to keep his sexual orientation quiet, but Taha's life was exposed, especially when he started conducting gay weddings in secret.
قطعا من این کارو میکردم. حاکمیت بعضی موقع پیام میدادن، مثلا حالا از طرف یا اینکه اداره اطلاعات احضار میکرد، اطلاعات سپاه یا وزارت اطلاعات، و میگفت که چرا این کارا رو داری میکنی، چرا با این افراد در تماسی، تو روحانی هستی، نباید این کارا رو بکنی. از اون طرف هم افرادی بودن که اینها میگن کاسه داغ‌تر از آش، اینها مذهبی هایی بودن که دوستان من بودن. میگفتن
All right, sorry. All right, let me just read this. So I'll go take down the volume and read it through, and I'll make it go slow so easy for me to read. All right, so 0.5 translate, I should say. Okay, so this is what he was saying. Yeah. Is it too slow? Yes, I conducted gay weddings. The last few months were very difficult. The authorities questioned me several times about my choice of friends. Remember, he is the authority, but there's other authorities, right? So his other, his fellow authoritarians, right? Because these are the guys who are fucking making it hard for everybody else, the normal citizens, right? These are the Shia who are making it tough on everybody else in Iran. Like millions of people subjugated to these bastards' rules. But they're going, the authorities questioned me several times about my choice of friends. Well, my fellow leaders, my fellow mullahs and muftis, you know, us bad people, the other bad people questioning my being a bad person, right? Remember, it's his word that gets people put in jail. Or beaten. They were saying, following, I'm a cleric and I shouldn't be meeting gay men. The other mullahs were suspicious about my sexual orientations and threatened me with death. Right? I think I'm a bit too slow on this one. Let's go to 75. With threatening me with death. Right? Right? So he's a mullah, but the other mullahs were suspicious about his sexual orientation and threatened him with death. Remember, that other guy from Africa, and then that was saying, oh, you know, they're welcome in the mosque, you know, they're welcome in our community, you know, even if he doesn't go around screwing men, he's welcome, right? And then the UK one was, who's got a book out saying they should be dead. They're worse than adulterers. They should be murdered. They should be dead. Right? Actually, that's pretty weird. Like, yeah.
Iran was not always so homophobic. Before the
All right, let's go back. I'll play it slow because I think otherwise I'm going to go back and forth again. Let's go.
1979 Islamic Revolution, it had a very liberal attitude towards sexuality. Being gay was not a crime. There were several gay-friendly bars and clubs. After
Going to the gay bar. It reminds me of the song. Let me play that. It was a pretty cool song. I remember my gay friend once played it to me. It's like nobody knew he was gay, and then he got outed by his girlfriend, and that was kind of sad. Well, his ex-girlfriend. It was a gay bar because he was a musician. He was a really cool dude, really good guy. So Electric Six. Hopefully, I'll only play a bit of it. Right, so we don't, get, strike. But I think it'll be funny. Not funny, but just a fact, bit of an interlude. Since he's talking about, like I was saying, Iran was such a free, democratic country, even under the king, right? And they just had a peaceful life like anybody else anywhere in the world. But because of the oil and because of, the promise that, even after they took over, it'll be still democratic, the time that at that time, the US government, whoever the leader was, I can't remember who it was, and the president at the time, decided that it'll be, let's overthrow the, and I'm glad Trump isn't into that, right? He's like fully, no, we ain't doing no more fucking wars, right? And while he was president, there was no war. And as soon as he leaves, wars, right? Wait, sorry, I had that slow. Did I go slow? No, it's fine. Wait. What's going on? There we go.
Take you to a gay bar. I wanna take you to a gay bar. I wanna take you to a gay bar, gay bar, gay bar. Let's stop. Stop. At the gay bar, gay bar, gay bar. Wow.
You guys can check it out later. It's just a fun song, but I thought it would be pretty cool to hear it. And hey, like you said, there were gay bars in Iran. There was like everywhere else in the West because, we're very tolerant. But hey, not so after they, Not so after the Shia came and took over the country with America's help at that current time. Got to make that clear. That current government was all about toppling nations because they wanted what everybody else, somebody else had. It's our oil, bro. It's not their oil. We shouldn't have to pay what they want for it. We should pay what we want to pay for it, right?
Revolution, everything changed. A conservative Islamic government took power. Today, Iran is one of the 7 countries in the world where gay sex is punishable by death.
I wouldn't say conservative. There's that word has been thrown around so thing, right? So fucking much. Especially in comics right now, in indie comics, which fucking gets on my nerves so much, especially from a group called the CG, right? Comicsgate. It's a grift word. Look, conservatism means basically this, that I can understand, right? Family values, hey, mom, dad, let's think, right? Oh, God, country, family. That's it. However, it's become a political thing to sell product now. Oh, it's not woke, right? It's not woke, so you should buy this. And anytime, if I ever fucking said it about my books, don't buy my books, right? If I ever say my books are conservative or it's a woke or whatever shit, don't. For me, art is art. It shouldn't be political unless you're doing political art. You shouldn't politicize art unless it's a political art. For me, I'm just writing stories for you guys to read, right? If you want to read my stories, because I just want to entertain. It's just these are stories that I feel like I want to tell, and that's the whole purpose of it. And if you like it, then thank you. Appreciate it. Tell other people about it, just the way I do. Tell other people about it if I like something, right? If I like a certain book by somebody, I'll go, hey, read this book. It's cool, man. So that you would read it and enjoy it. And if you did enjoy it, maybe not. If you didn't enjoy it, that's fine. But if you do enjoy it, tell somebody else. Because that's how fandom starts. That's how people become, I guess what originally was about having, a community around something. Because now a community, I should say, not committee, community around, what you love, and then you just all get together and enjoy that. And now it's oh, but it's this or that. And I was like, fuck that shit, man. It's just that's what I say. It's been thrown around too much, and really it's it's been thrown around to make money off people, and that's not the cool way. If the story's good, then the story should stand on its own. You shouldn't use any political fucking shit to make it, make people buy it. Just here it is. If you like it, please tell other people about it and enjoy it. And if you can afford to, buy it. All right. And more people hear about it. Maybe somebody else might be able to buy it, even if you can't buy it. That's the way, that's the way life is about. Not using politics to fucking advance your sales figures or shit like that. Or hate on other people to, so that if you hate them, then you think that people will buy your stuff. No, they'll just realize that you're just a hater, right? So if I hate somebody else and they're a rioter, people go, well, fuck, let's see your shit then. Are you any better? I don't want that stuff about me. I don't want to have to be put on a competing stage. I just hope that you guys, enjoy what we're doing. And my art is, working on and stuff. All right, let's get on with this. So basically, when they took over in Iran, and they weren't conservative, they were fucking dictator, communist bullshit. That's why I always consider Islam as a communist thing level, and I hate, dislike both equally, because it's all about control, right? If you really get down to it, Islam's about control, and so it's communism. Controlling your music, like they say, you can't listen to music, you can't dress a certain way, you can't talk to certain people, right? That's all control.
Today, Iran is one of the 7 countries in the world where gay sex is punishable by death. This is the environment Taha grew up in. His strict religious upbringing made it even worse.
All right, back to the 75%. So I can read this guy's Well, read out the translation. So I don't, so those who are listening and not watching, and I know I do that myself. So, so you guys get the translation. There's subtitles. So I was different since I was a kid. I was feminine. I knew I was not interested in girls. He's talking about when he's about 15, right?
مسئله از بد به حالا بچگی من، از همون زمانی که من بچه بودم خب در من وجود داشت. میدونستم که من میل آنچنانی به غیر همجنس خودم ندارم. این مسئله ادامه پیدا
So when I
کرد.
went to high school and I got access to the internet, lucky him, because a lot of the the internet's already closed off.
تا dooran راهنمایی
Oh! I just realized why he was able to have access to the internet, because he was part of the holy people, right? I mean, not the holy people, like the leaders, like the special class, of citizens, right? Because he was going to study, he's going to be one of the authoritarians in Iran.
رسان من حالا به فضای اینترنتی و مجازی آشنا شدم و اینها کم کم
I learned more about the whole concept of being a gay man.
اون لحظه خیلی ترسیدم.
At that time I was studying in the Islamic school. I was very scared. I was crying for days.
UN figures suggest there are over 1,000 Iranian LGBT refugees in Turkey waiting.
See that? This is from 2005, right? Imagine how many have been killed in that time. See, the numbers you get aren't exactly always the actual on the ground figures, because those are just numbers that you're aware of. They say, oh, there's about 10,000 people, such and such, and like 15,000 people have been killed, right? It's like what happened in my brain just remembered, like happened in Tibet. Was it Myanmar? Tibet, right? Just a couple of weeks ago. It was like mid-January, 26th of January. There was an earthquake there, huge. And they said, oh, only a few people died. Nothing major happened because China was controlling the narrative, right? They wouldn't even let anybody from the West go in to help, not even India. They're like, we're going to control it. Over 100 people died that they're aware of. And as you know, a lot of, homeless people move around. So if they pass, you don't even know if they passed, right? Because there's no fix a boat. Or they don't have any family members. Maybe they're elderly. Maybe they're cast out. Nobody gives a shit about them. Or maybe they're homeless children, right? So no numbers. But according to the UN, the very biased bullshit, committee,
Iranian LGBT refugees in Turkey waiting to be resettled abroad. Migrants have no right to work here. This makes the experience of being a refugee in Turkey very difficult.
Isn't it interesting, right? Like Muslims from Iran are not allowed to work in Turkey, a Muslim country. Yet our Western countries are so open to them. And yeah, sure, we'll actually freaking give you money to help you with your social needs. House, we'll fucking provide you house. We'll provide you home, clothing, power, internet, mobile phone, car, bikes for your children. Yet Muslims won't even do that for themselves. Next door, next country over, like Turkey's like, where's that? Turkey's like right next to Iran. So this dude flees over there with all his homosexual friends, right? All his gay men, gay friends, gay ladies. They flip over to Turkey, not allowed to work. Dude's a mullah, right? He's a preacher. He's like he's the priest. He's the guy who stands up and goes, this is what you should do with your life. This is what the Quran says. And he's not even allowed to go into a Muslim country and work. Yet we're so welcoming to them in our countries, and which we should do, but not to the extent that we are doing, right? Because we're not even helping our own most of the time before we help them.
For people like Taha,
بلکه وقتی که اومدم
It was very difficult to survive here. I don't have the power I had in Iran. Oh yeah, that's because like you were the authority in Iran. You had the privilege that nobody else had, apart from those who had the privilege, and because you're Shia, right? You were the overlords over everybody else, right? You got to sign off on the young girl who was dancing to music, to rock music, or who dressed differently, to go get get arrested and taken away, and then killed. You'll of course will find that out on Atheist Republic. It happened just recently, and I put up that link there. Please do check it out. It's a really, really, really good channel to find out about what's happening around the world when it comes to religion.
اینجا و اعلام پناهندگی کردم فشارهای ایران 100 برابر شد
Right.
میتونم
When I settled here as a refugee, pressure from Iran increased too.
بگم که فحاشی هاشون اگه تو ایران فحاشی نمی‌کردن اینجا فحاشی ها زیاد شد
Religious people name and shame me. They send me text messages and threatening me.
عکس بذارم
Actually, it's a bit too loud for that, dude. It's putting me off. As soon as I publish a post on social media, they attack me. But I thought Islam was all kosher with with LGBT and isn't that why they all raise their Palestinian flags together and they join all their pro Hamas marches and all that all across the world where the white people live, Westerners. I thought that they love the LGBT, that they love the trans, they love the gays, they love the lesbians, they love the queers. And you're telling me as a Muslim cleric of high standing who studied to be a leader with authority, you can't even put a post out before they attack you, before they name and shame you? In a Muslim country? After escaping another Muslim country? Damn. I've been lied to, bro. Like every other fucking gay person around who doesn't open their eyes to this. They've been lied to.
Taha showed me pictures of the mullahs he knew back in Iran, including former President Khatami.
Look at him. He knew the president, the former president. This is the privilege he lived, right? Had. He met the president of Iran.
Initially, he appeared to be just like them, but the more I got to know him, the more I realized he was just like other gay Iranians.
In your age, usually go out, go clubbing, and have fun. Do you do so?
Yes, I do. I went to gay clubs a few times.
Istanbul is unique in the Muslim
Turkey.
world for the tolerance of homosexuality. The city has several gay bars and
sorry.
clubs. Taha wants to take me to one of them.
Hold on.
But
Sorry, that was pretty low. Apologies for that. Here we go.
Tolerance of homosexuality. The city has several gay bars and clubs. Taha wants to take me to one of them, but before that, he needs to get ready in his way.
Wait. I just realized. Okay. Copyright strike.
On Istiklal Street, famous for its gay scene. Venues like these are new in Istanbul as well. Now we are sitting in one of them. On one side I have Taha, the gay mullah. On another side I have two Iranian gay refugees who fled from the country. Ramtin left Iran a year ago and plans to get married to his partner. He hopes Taha will conduct their ceremony. For him, a gay mullah.
I wonder if that bar still exists. right? Because it's not like public, especially in Turkey, right? In Istanbul. It'll be very secretive. It's just like the clubs in Qatar and stuff like that. Or was it Emirates? You know, and where they're underground, it's like so far underground that the noise doesn't go upstairs. And so you could do whatever the hell you want, like drink and, you know, whatever, have sex and all that, you know, normal, whatever shit, you know, club activities. I shouldn't say sex, but like maybe there is, but, you know, just hang out with the ladies and all that shit. But it's really hidden and quiet, noise controlled, so that people who shouldn't know about it don't know about it. And I wonder, you know, how long these things are going to, like, because they basically put a target on their heads if they're still there, but they're waiting to get out, right?
Is a big deal.
It's very, very big. I'm very.
It is very big, and I'm very happy about this. So he's getting married. He's talking about his being able to get married, right? So this is Ramtin Sigorot. He's an Iranian refugee, just like Taha.
شما تا قبل از این همیشه
Before this, we knew mullahs as people who wanted to punish us. Oh, he's talking about the dude. He's talking about the mullah who's the gay, right? So he's talking about Tahir. Sorry, apologies. So he's talking about this being a big deal, that there's a fucking mullah who is to punish them, sitting opposite them in this gay bar, right? Before we knew this, we knew mullahs as people who wanted to punish us. See that? That alone should tell you how terrified they are under, you know, Islam, under the Sharia law, which they are wanting to be all across the world.
آخوندها رو به عنوان کسی میشناسیم که قرار ما رو مجازات بکنن. قرار ما رو
They prayed at execution ceremonies. These mullahs, people like to hear. They prayed at our execution ceremonies. Look at the dead eyes. He's like, not dead eyes, but like just sorrow, right? Like serious as fuck.
پای چوبه دار دعا برامون بخونن.
But now we know someone who prays at our wedding ceremonies. So it's all good now. Like, he's to kill us and he's to pray for us. You know, pray at executions. But now he's one of us because now we know that he's gay.
میتونم ببینم کنار خودم که برای من خطبه عقد داره میخونه.
Farid, not his real name, left Iran 1 month ago. He is not out to his family and doesn't.
So it's not even his real name, right? There's of course, you know, Pride magazine with if you're listening, it's a Pride magazine with what's his name on it, Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury, when he was a child, he went to boarding school where he was abused all the time by the seniors. And by abuse, I mean he was raped as a child.
To be identified. Do you trust him?
واسه من
Yeah, so he goes, do you trust this mullah gay person? And he goes, you know, because now he's saying he's gay. It is very difficult. It is very difficult for me to trust him because he is a mullah. Right? So here's like the shit, got something in my eye. Here's the thing. So he's sitting across a person who probably prayed at the execution and probably caught his fellow gay people, men, whatever, you know, like I said, they concentrate more on the gay men because that's like to them, right, the main thing. So, but now he's got to sit across from him because, you know, this is the very person with blood on his hands that killed people like him and their sexual leaning, right? And, you know, he's got to deal with that, like basically your enemy, right? Enemy who killed your friends, who arrested your friends, who sent your friends to be hung.
اعتماد کردن خیلی
Oh, by the way, because of Islam. And they celebrated them getting hung and murdered because of Islam. Have you ever seen a country where, I mean, like, I know certain places have done this, and like to this level, where it's publicly execution, where they broadcast it, where they celebrate it, where the priests get around and pray. This is modern day, not some fucking 100 years ago, all that. It's modern day, where we walk around with a supercomputer basically in our hands, with access to all the information in the world, right?
سخت
And look at this dude's eyes. He's like, fuck. This is what this is what humanity I destroyed because of my religion, right? That I destroyed all this person's friends. Maybe it might have been a family member or extended family member, whatever, right? Just because, and not just gay people. Remember, this is just considered gay, but they do it to women. Like they go and you got your hijab not right. You got your hair showing under. Well, do it right, or we're going to arrest you. We're going to break your fingers off, so you understand that you don't do it this way again. Or we will go and whip you with a cane, so the marks can remind you. Oh, but like, fuck, man, Western men are so horrible, though. All that misogyny, all those incel people. Wow, man, like the West is so horrible because they tell me to smile, or tell me to lose some weight, or or don't put on some makeup. You might look nicer without makeup. Fuck, those guys are so horrible. They're fucking misogynists. But this is real misogyny. Total control over your sexuality, over your the way you wear your hair, the music you listen to.
چون که توی ایران توی
I grew up in an atmosphere where they were part of the fears and lies.
بودم که همش ترس و وحشت بوده.
خب این خودش
It was very painful. Oh, now the mullah is saying, former mullah, whatever. No, he's still a mullah. He's wearing the crown. He's wearing the garment of their punishment, right? He's wearing the costume of their, or I should say the uniform, right, of their villains, right, of their overlords. And the thing is, he takes it off when he goes to the gay bar, but he walks around with it when he's outside. See, he doesn't even want to be normal dressed outside, but he wants to wear the mullah, the authority outside. He can't just be a normal man walking around outside. See, the guy's still holding on to his Islam while sitting with, in the daytime, but sitting with the gay man, the people that whose friends he probably killed or arrested or sent to the gallows.
عذاب آوره. از بعضی از افرادی
Neither LGBT nor religious people accept me. Some Iranian LGBT do not trust me. Well, why should they? Right? You're saying you're a mullah, the person who punished them, and you won't let that go. Yet you want these people, these guys here, and their community to trust you. It's the hypocrisy of the fucking thing. I wouldn't trust you.
که مثل خودم هستن پذیرش نمیشم.
Really don't change.
Yeah, but that's the sad part, isn't it? Like, nobody trusts you. Not the fact that those people have lost their lives. That guy's friend probably got murdered by you, got hung by you. This is what that's what I was saying earlier about that guy we played the first video with that dude who was 18 years old, came over on 16 years old, did a visa from India to study, and then killed a 19-year-old. And then he was like, "Oh, I did my time. 6 years in prison. I did my time. I deserve better. I deserve to stay here in America after 6 years in prison."
خیلی اون روز
So not in the sorry, what did he just say, Tom?
بوده.
خب این خودش عذاب آوره.
It is very, very
از
dark.
بعضی از
Nobody
افرادی که
touched
مثل خودم هستن پذیرش نمیشم.
Will Iran change?
خیلی اون روز.
Yeah, he goes, will that change? Not in the near future. I won't see that day in my life. Yeah, because people like you will not allow it to change because you still wear the garments of punishment. And like I said, please, go subscribe, go, watch some videos over at Atheist Republic. Really, really cool channel, and tells you exactly what's happening in Iran right now, what they're doing to the women there, and what the women are doing in return to get their freedom back, or to be just free.
100% اون روز من نخواهم دید.
The city of 1,000 mosques is Taha's temporary home before he goes to his final destination.
1,000 mosques, and like that's how many they're going to have. Like in UK, they're going to have that in Denmark and everywhere because that's what they want. Just let's remember this song. Like it's like build a parking lot, concrete paradise, whatever it is. But like they want to build a mosque everywhere. That's why they do that by like, even though they have mosques, hundreds of mosques in every country now, they will pray in the streets to show dominance. They'll go out, walk out into the middle of the road in groups, and like they'll stop the cars and like get down on their knees and pray to Mecca, to show dominance. Like I said, misogyny and control.
Canada. His new life in exile makes him think about his future. Will Iran ever accept Taha the way he is, or is he too gay to be mullah and too mullah?
That's the thing, right? This is the weirdest. Like I said, he still wears the uniform of the gay people's murderers. It's a joke. It's like, it just feels like a joke. It's like, it's like a Nazi saying, well, I'm a Jew now, but I will still wear the Nazi garments, right? I'll still walk around with my swastika, right? And I'll still hold my SS uniform, and like, I wouldn't trust him with it. Like, maybe he's right. I mean, like, for the fact that you won't give up those garments because it offers you privilege, it feels like a grift. Let me see what else I got. Before we finish up here, I think there's one I want to show about the actual. Is it that one? No, not that one. Yeah, we'll do a second part, I think. But I have one. No. Where are you? I had this really a short video, a couple of them, which was really so that's from that other one that's going to come up later. No. Community spiritual. No. Dang it. Where is it? Apologies, guys. I usually, like I said, there's like, sometimes I grab a whole bunch, like, I try to grab the links, have it together, and then like, sometimes they get misplaced amongst it all, amongst all the links and the bookmarks. Is this one? All right. So this is from 2 years ago. And I will finish with this one. Let me grab the link. The video tab. Present. Trying to see it around my mic and the webcam. All right, here we go. Right, so this is fear and survival, being LBG, being gay, right, and trans in Iraq. This is from 2 years ago, from the BBC. Link in the chat. And let's have a quick little interlude, should I?
Told you new stereo.
Oh, great.
I'll replace the windows.
Thanks.
That's ridiculous!
So that's it? Any more research?
I remember my childhood. When first I was a little child, I didn't have makeup to paint my eyebrows and my lipsticks. And then that day, my older sibling came in and saw me with that. And the first reaction he did, he actually slapped me in the face.
Why should I live? They don't get it. I should die. It's better, it's easier, it doesn't take a lot of energy, it doesn't take a lot of struggles, you know? It doesn't take like explaining myself for millions of times. So I was like, that's the only way out. Like, sometimes you get exhausted and you have to choose an easy way because you're exhausted, you don't have any more energy left.
All of them, they talk in front of you, like since when you were a child, that to be with another man as a man, it's really bad, and they will really be judgmental. They may kill you, they may do a lot of bad stuff physically to you, they'll punish you, report you to the court, to the police. So you will be traumatized just from the idea. Not, I should act like, yeah, I'm into girls, not into boys, because I just wanted to protect myself.
Here in Iraq and Kurdistan, being gay can get you killed. And that's not the only threat. There are the sexual assaults, the fact that it's almost impossible to get and keep a job. And every day, living a life that means you can never be who you really are. This is what that feels like.
I remember last time when we had an event and I was dressing, and then after the event, I actually didn't go by the dress, but I kept the wigs on. I was horrified myself. It was like 1 a.m. I was driving in my own car. I had also my friends with me, but I was still very concerned that somebody will recognize me as security at the gate, that they will recognize me and they will say, okay, we know this car, but we do not recognize this person.
Isn't it interesting? Like in the West, they say that like, oh, it's so hateful towards, gays and queers and trans people. The dude's scared of actually, walk into his own house because he had a wig on. He forgot to take his wig off. It's weird how like the mental gymnastics of the politics and the trans and gay activists have ruined society, Western society, for the acceptance of in the West. Just like in the 90s, was just acceptable. Like, yeah, okay, dude's gay. All right, cool. All right, cool. And now it's where like they've gotten so aggressive to where people have actually turned on people on the same thing that they were happy with in the 90s to now being against them this much because of the very activism of the trans community, not the gay community, but the trans community. That they want to because see, adults, like normal adults, don't give a fuck about gays and queers and whatever, because like, hey, you know, as long as you don't harm anybody, you're fine. Just don't fucking push your shit on me, right? That's how normal people are. But the moment you start saying, well, we got to have these in the schools, we got to have these in your TV, you got to have this in every book, you got to have this in the stores, you got to have it in the shops, you got to have this in the churches, that's when they go on now. Because before that, it was all fine. The 90s was pretty cool, man. Like, you could fucking nobody give a shit. Really, nobody should. But here comes the last 15, 20 years. It was like all these, you know, YouTube, social media, grooming areas and all that. Now everybody's got to be an activist because got to be seen. But like in the end, before, like you were seen and nobody really give a fuck. Right? Nobody really give a shit. All right. But now everybody who doesn't accept you or whatever is now they're a homophobe. Right, or they're transphobe, and so the trans activists have gotten to a point where they've turned the very people that were okay with them against them. Is that crazy? Like, it's just the crazy, right? Even the normal gay people, like people who just want to live their lives, are against that shit. They're like, what the fuck did you do to us? We were so cool, man. Like, everything, we worked so hard to make it cool, and then you guys just flipped the table and made everything worse again. But no, you know, the West is evil, right?
So it was a horrible feeling. It was, I couldn't feel safe at all to be outside. But I tried it just out of, I think, challenge of wanting to go. And I always had this hope that I could, you know, I'm glad that I've been able to do it.
Dude can't even show his face on camera. And out here we've got people on Twitter, on Facebook, and anything social, you know, especially TikTok, trying to get little children to trans, right? Their gender, whatever, you know, pronouns and shit, like very young, to take hormones. Here in Iraq, the guy can't even show his fucking face.
In this safe space that I created for myself. But outside there, I cannot even imagine.
See, he can't even do that outside his house, all right? And, you know, like I said, the Islamists are clowning on LBGT in the West. But it's all right. Keep wearing your clown masks and stuff, and you know, and when they find out where you live and stuff, when they are, and you know, when they have enough around, they'll come and hunt you down. You'll find out. There was a school in UK, where, you know, public school in UK, where they had like, you know, the rainbow flag, whatever fuck, you know, and there would, you know, stuff happened, and all the Muslim people came up and said, "You ain't doing shit. Take this shit out of our children's thing. Remove all that shit out of the school." It was like a huge protest. All the Muslims came up, parents, you know, children, everybody, older kids came out. In Britain, no, we're not going to have that. And yeah, no pride flag, whatever the fuck, at all. Nothing like that at all in a public school in UK. Right?
How horrible could be.
This is the only place that Queen can really be herself without fear of violence, inside her own home. She carefully gathers her closest friends and the tools she needs to transform herself physically into the woman she is within. These are the small, secret spaces where Kurdistan and Iraq's LGBTQ community can express themselves. Doing it in the outside world is too dangerous, but there are always risks. You have worked really hard to create a safe space for people, haven't you?
In his own house. In the West, there want, safe spaces, activists want safe spaces every single place, right? But this dude's just like, the only place I feel safe with, with my other gay friends, whatever, trans friends, is in my house. And she's like, oh, you really created a safe space for everybody. It's like, do you realize I can't get outside like this? I can't live. I'm a prisoner in my own house, in my own body, in here. And that's where my friends only feel safe, in this environment. Can you see, lady, I can't even show you my face. Here's a problem, because the whole house is being shown. So let's just say his family members saw this, and they recognize the house. Google search all that bullshit. It's like the insanity of like the modern West. Don't understand the seriousness of other places. And this is why like we did this channel, just so you guys can see, I mean, not this channel, but like we talk about the shit just so you guys can see what else is out there, right? And what's happening to people around elsewhere. Because Western people are just very blind, willfully, and sometimes on like purposefully ignorant, or just don't want to learn, or don't go out to find anything new, or anything to like really what's behind the fucking news, right?
It requires a lot of thought. It requires a lot of process. I really have to make sure and check who's coming in that party.
I didn't notice, but even his voice has changed. All right, he's like a mobster, like giving, he's about to go to court, so he's giving confession, and like telling you what he, what things, like, got to hide his face.
Or in that event, do I know them enough? If I don't know them enough, does one of the people that I'm inviting know them well enough? And then only I can, because it's also a responsibility. It's not just a safe space that I invite people to. No, it's a safe space for me, but I want a safe space for others. The responsibility is a lot. The risk is a lot, because I still live in this country. I am not far away from my family. My family are not okay with anything has to do with my gender expression, or my gender identity, or my sexuality. And in their eyes, in their mind, they still think that they have this grown-up man who is working and independent. That's all they know. They really do not know and have information about.
Interesting where he got the trans flag from, right? Or did he make it himself? Because he couldn't even have that there, right? So he must have made it himself. Otherwise, why, how the hell did he, because look, if you listen to him, like how afraid he is, all right, that the only place he feels safe is inside his apartment. And the only place he's able, that other people are okay to get together is inside his apartment, right? And he won't leave his apartment dressed up like this.
My personal life. And I don't think they need to know, because I think they're not ready. But still, that doesn't mean that I will stop living my true self. Because like I said, I lived long enough as my society wanted me to, but not as I wanted to. So I'm ready to take those risks, and I'm happy to, when I can, when it's not compromising of my own safety, when it's done smartly in spaces that I can guarantee my own safety and my people's safety.
It isn't illegal to be trans here, like Queen. It isn't illegal to be gay either. Having a
By the way, she's calling her Queen not because that's a real, the name she goes by. She's just calling her Queen just to, play the whole mind fucking game that they do. These journalists do, because he's not going to give his real name, because the name he will go by when he's out there in the in the community, not in like normal society, but like in his private community, because otherwise he's screwed. But she's trying to be the like, rather than calling him whatever some other female name, she's calling him Queen.
Relationship with another man or woman doesn't break any laws, but the social stigma is huge. If you ask why, you'll get different answers: community, tradition, religion, but intolerance is everywhere. An LGBTQ support group created these street paintings to promote harmony. Within weeks, thick black paint was thrown across the rainbows and the women's faces. They've been left like that as a daily reminder that change is still far away. Queen isn't the only one who's suffering here. There are thousands just like her, living their lives in fear. Each day brings a new battle, and sometimes it's over the simplest things.
Let's do this, and we'll see you next time. Ka kite ano. Have an amazing day, evening, night, morning, wherever you are. See you next time. Catch ya.
Nope. Can't stay here anymore. I gotta get back. I think this was the spot. Oh Lord, I beseech thee, please return me to my old life. I swear I'll do anything. Like, literally anything. And I won't bother you again, so pretty please bring me back to life.